Welcome to My New Day. I am so thankful for our guest this week. We're talking about relationships. I know this is dear to your heart. It's dear to our heart. We help people a lot in their relationships and try and just ask God for wisdom, practical knowledge of how He sees things so that we can get great solutions for people in their marriages and families.
The past two programs that we've had with our guest, Al Els, he's authored the book, One Way Relationships, When You Love Them More Than They Love You. I know I've spoken with many who feel trapped in this loveless relationship. And in our previous programs, I think Al just gave us some real keys and just real nuggets to be able to begin, a journey to wholeness. In today's program, we want to talk about intimacy.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a two-way relationship.
You think?
Yeah, I'm kind of guessing. So let's welcome Al to the program. Al, we're so happy that you're here. You wrote the book, One Way Relationships, and dozens of other books. But you want to talk about intimacy today, and that is a two-way relationship. Come on.
Well, God willing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, intimacy is interesting because when you look at what makes marriage work, or you look at adultery, which is another way of saying how marriage doesn't work.
Right.
What the research says is really clear. Women commit adultery when they don't feel connected. Okay? When they don't have some kind of a rich connection or they somehow feel disconnected, or disvalued, whatever, that is when the temptation will arise.
Right.
Okay? For years, we've always thought, well, men seek relational problems and adultery just because they want sex. Guess what? Not true at all. Exactly the same reason for women.
Really?
Exactly. And they interviewed, I don't know how many thousands of men, found it's exactly the same thing. Men commit adultery, when they feel disconnected. And that's why the number one time a man commits adultery is when his wife's pregnant. During pregnancy, there's more disconnect usually, And there's more attention to the mom, more attention to the baby, more attention to things like that, and less attention to the marriage. So disconnection in marriage is the most vulnerable, difficult time.
Does every single person need connection?
Yes, whether they like it or not.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yes. I'll tell you why. Connection does, even theologians talk about the whole issue of male and female is God's perfect image. God made them, male and female, in His image, So there's something that completes a man and completes a woman when they're both connected and well bonded. The differences complement each other then. The differences enrich, the differences of maleness and females really make for something special. So when the scripture says they were naked, the man and his wife in Genesis, and were not ashamed, that word naked is the Hebrew word arom, A-R-O-M, which means totally, totally naked. Naked physically, naked emotionally, naked psychologically, total vulnerability and openness, Total transparency, And not ashamed is the Hebrew word that denotes the issue that you're not rejected or you're not shamed when you are totally naked with that person.
Wow, which really describes the ultimate intimacy.
Yes. So when a person is totally vulnerable and transparent and the other person doesn't shame them, but accepts them, connects with them and says, I love the transparency and vulnerability I see. The emotional richness of that is called intimacy. And the studies have shown that there's a feeling then of universal oneness. You actually feel universally connected. You'll have a feeling like I've known this person forever.
Because we have.
There will be a release of chemicals in the person, of everything from oxytocin to norepinephrine to noradrenaline, that cause this rosy outlook, that cause this uplifted sense of nice feeling. It's kind of a high. And also the oxytocin produces this real deep connection feeling of warmth and you want to cuddle, you want to touch each other. I mean, all that happens when you're deeply intimate emotionally, not just physically, Now, the challenge is people touch on that when they're first attracted to each other. Most people don't maintain it.
So you get the taste of it.
Get the taste of it, yeah.
Then what happens? What is the blocker for how come it doesn't keep maintained?
Why don't people maintain it?
Well, the first one is a phenomenon called accommodation. Accommodation is when you physiologically get desensitized to the chemical. It's like if you worked in a sewer, the first time you got close to the sewer, you could smell the smell and it'd be horrible. Be there a half hour, you won't smell anymore. Your senses, your sensory apparatus adjust to it, you don't smell anymore.
Wow.
So the same thing happens to people with the cuddle chemicals, oxytocin, norepinephrine.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and the person after a while, it usually is about 18 months, a year to 18 months, and then you adjust to it, and you don't feel it much. So then it's going to come on occasions. It's not going to come regularly like it was before.
How can you change that? That's just sad.
Yes. Well, the first thing is...
I want it all the time.
Yes, all the time. Does this sound familiar?
No.
No.
He's the one that wants it all the time.
So what happens is twofold. One is the more you work on showing the other person how much you care about them and they feel the love, the more that returns.
Ah.
Okay? And the more frequently.
And that's not just, it doesn't happen without intention. That takes some intention.
Intention and work. And that's the love language territory.
Okay. So
People who learn the 5 love languages in practice. See, marriage and family therapists for years have called those love currencies. Okay? So, and then Chapman made them popular by calling them love languages.
Yeah.
People who practice those intentionally in their marriage with each other, that feeling of love, that feeling and the release of the chemicals happens more often. Okay? The second time it happens deeply is when you are deeply bonded through vulnerability and acceptance. Okay? When you create a safe relationship where I can be totally who I am, good, bad, indifferent, and share that transparency and vulnerability, and you say, I still love you. I care about you. It releases all those chemicals. Sorry about that.
you made a
was a good
statement.
one.
You made a statement.
It releases those chemicals and it connects the two people deeply, emotionally, and physically. So part of the answer to marriage is how can we live a life with each other where we progressively become more and more transparent and vulnerable. And let's make a distinction between transparency and vulnerability. I can get up on Sunday morning and preach a message and say, you know what, my wife and I had a fight, and here's what happened, and here's how we resolved it. That's being transparent. Being vulnerable is I get up there on Sunday morning and say, my wife and I had a fight here on the way to church, and we're still not resolved, and I'm really angry with it right now. That's vulnerable. Right?
That takes it to the
It's
next
here
level.
and now.
This isn't even the happy ending at this point. We are in it thick.
Yes. So here and now is vulnerability. When you can be totally vulnerable, take down all the masks, take down all the walls, and just share your heart with a person.
Wow, that's interesting.
And they can look at you in the eye, okay, touch you, or connect with you and say, I understand and I still value you. Bam. That does it. See, that's intimacy. That's what makes the one flesh marriage. That's what makes the bonding healthy and well connected. Okay? So people, more than any other issue in life, they struggle with the bonding. And the second one, over the feeling of love. Because those are the two things that make the connection work. So how you bond? See, I bonded in the one-way relationship with my father. I was the one always doing the effort to try to connect with him and form a bond, and he wasn't doing much. So that pattern was an unhealthy pattern, and it never made us really connect and bond. So it does take two people to connect richly.
Yeah. I want to talk about intimacy in marriage, okay? Because marriage in our culture is under attack.
Right.
And the more I hear and read and watch, just basic television, what's being projected is marriage is unnecessary, or even relationships with the opposite sex are unnecessary. All right. I mean, that chasm has never been there like it is today.
I agree.
I don't need, a person of the opposite sex. I don't need a man in my life. I don't need a woman in my life. I'm on my own. So I'm seeing a real problem, in our society, because there is no connecting and there is no bonding taking place.
Right. And people do that because they don't want to risk being hurt, number one. Okay?
That's the reason.
Right, and they want to stay as safe as they can.
Wow.
Because it is risky
So it is
to
a
love.
total safety issue
Safety
here.
issue.
And I know that's an inner need of every
That's
single
right.
person to feel
It
safe.
is risky to love and not have it work. It's
Yes.
risky to love and be rejected.
Yes.
It is real risky to be vulnerable. So
Yes.
it's easier for a lot of these people because they've seen all the tragedies of marriage. And
They
problems.
felt them
They've been
themselves.
in
Felt
1,
them.
2,
That's
3.
right.
Yeah, to say, well, I don't need anybody. Or
Yeah.
I can just
The
connect a little
independence
bit.
comes up.
The independence comes up.
Yes.
And I can then connect once in a while. So instead of being interdependent, they're independent. And they become what we call counterdependent. They are absolutely against being dependent. So they form a style of living and connecting that is against being too dependent. So I'll connect with you that much, and then I'll withdraw. Okay, I'll come close, then I'll stay away.
Do you find that people develop patterns in their life that need to be addressed?
Well, everybody does.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How do you do that?
Well, that's a simple, not so simple.
Yeah,
I know
That's
it
a big
isn't.
question.
I saw that we had 10 minutes left, and I'm like,
Okay, but
Okay.
I
there's
want.
destructive cycles in
There are.
this, in people's.
Okay, yes. But let me just stay with this intimacy,
Okay.
marriage, risk. That with that, then comes this sense or this feeling of I need to control
Exactly.
my life.
So I can be safe.
Yeah, I control my relationships. I control
right.
my work. I control my.
right.
Eating.
Right. The more chaotic the world gets, the more things that happen that you don't know of or don't have control over or exposed to that you have no idea how to fix, like wars and all this.
Yes.
The more the self-preservation comes is I need to be more and more safe, and I need to do whatever it takes to control my life to keep me from being subject to someone else's life.
And it's a big oxymoron because we're actually safer in relationships.
We are. Absolutely. Well
There's
said.
safety in numbers. I mean, that's sort of
That's
a
right.
common knowing. I mean, there's safety in community. There's safety in
That's
knowing
right.
that there's not just one of me. It's like when I'm not, you are.
Yes. So I think we've bred a whole culture of people that are overly focused on being safe and not vulnerable. Okay?
Because of fear.
Because of fear. And hurt and pain.
Hurt and pain. That's what I've really heard you say this in the series.
Yeah.
You're really helping me understand that it's either hurt or fear.
That's right.
So can we do this just
Well, let me just
Okay.
because I'm wanting to where I'm going at with this is our young people.
right?
That are not wanting to get married,
Right.
that are, getting in, that have begun being intimate,
Yes.
at a very young age, outside of marriage.
You mean
and
sexually intimate.
Sexually intimate, and they become so
Right.
fragmented because we're talking about relationships, and sexual intimacy is reserved or is something that is expressed, or needs to be expressed within marriage. What makes our relationship so unique is that we share sexual intimacy that I share with nobody
Well, that's
else.
marriage.
Right.
That's marriage.
Yeah.
Well,
But what I'm
it
look-
is also the healthier way to bond. It works better.
Yes.
When you only share sex with someone, you get a taste of it, and then you withdraw from the connection. Okay? And so you learn to take tastes and bites. You never learn how to live intimately. To live intimately, is where the riches are. When you live intimately, the deep, deep affirmation you give each other, the deep connection, the deep sense of unity, all the positives we talked about before, all those become available and manifest. When you only play it safe and take a little taste, well, let's have sex here, and then I'll go live my own life. Let's have sex here. Then you're not trusting, you're not feeling safe, and you'll never have the richness of marriage and commitment and love. You won't.
And I think, do you mind if I do this now?
Yeah.
Because I think that there's people stuck in that exact destructive cycle where they are only tasting.
That's right.
And they've been doing that so long that how do you get out of that kind of destructive cycle?
Well, from a counselor's point of view,
Yes.
we go back to the pain.
Okay.
And you explore in the person's life, where is the disappointment? Where is the pain? Where is the fear?
Okay.
Where did it come from? One of the things I do with clients oftentimes is called a genogram or a genogram. Have you ever done one of
No.
those things?
No.
It shows the generational bonding patterns of mother, father, kids. From a genogram that you do on a person, you can actually predict who they'll marry. Okay? With reasonable certainty, the kind of person they'll marry.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because remember, marriage and connection is always based on bonding. Bonding and connection, same word, same
Yes.
thing. So how you bonded in your family of origin will determine who you're attracted to in the future. Okay? For example, if we did a genogram on you, who are you close to, your mom or dad, growing up?
Oh,
You'll be closer to one than the other.
I guess my mom.
Do you think that's true for her? Mom?
Sure.
It's really hard because I'm
Yeah.
really close with my dad, but I mean, I guess because it's a mom-daughter, I was the only girl.
The
So,
only girl.
yeah.
So here's what you'll normally do. We always reenact our past.
Okay.
Okay. So you'll either be attracted to someone who's more like mom because you had the richness of that and you lost it as you grew older.
Right.
Or you'll be attracted to someone more like dad who you didn't have as many of the riches of connection with and want to have now.
Okay, gotcha.
See, that's kind of the way the bonding thing works. The more dramatic the bonding pattern is in your family of origin, the clearer will be the attraction issues.
Right.
Now, when you bond to both parents, then it'll be more of a mixture. Okay? But if you look at most families, children do not bond equally or even close to with both parents.
That's right.
They're not
We're having more and more,
single parent
single parent
Yeah, big
families.
time.
Yeah.
For example, in your background, who did you bond closer to, mom or dad growing up?
You're asking some pretty deep questions now. That's a good
Hard to
question.
tell.
Yeah, it's a hard one to tell.
I don't know if no one's ever asked
Yeah.
me that question before.
So here's what we would do with a person who has difficulty connecting.
Okay.
We would do a genogram and see where the bonding pattern is. And based on that, see what was lacking, what was missing, or what happened. That they now can't trust, can't bond fully, and don't want to risk it. And in there will be a message of sorts that you work that makes the difference. Okay? And that's why it's individualized, but it's usually about pain and fear.
And now is all of this in the book? The one-way relationships book? The
yeah, some of
do you
it
call
is.
it Genie Graph?
Genogram or
Genogram?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wrote another book called Family Love that shows these patterns from generation to generation. That's a better book to describe it.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
With intimacy, within our culture, because we want to be able to break the cycle.
Yes.
Okay, but I love the young people today. I want them to see them in healthy and right, relationships rather than this, floundering and going from. I mean, there's just so much brokenness, and when you take a look at our society, even for me, the family is the backbone and the strength of a healthy society.
Sure it is. And there is a love hunger and an acceptance hunger in all our young people. Okay? Even if you are raised in a reasonably healthy family, you still want that love and acceptance you had in your healthy family. And if you're raised in one that you didn't get it much, you'll even want it doubly. Okay? So what a lot of our young people have done is they've now began to trust and bond with their peers more than their family of origin. Okay? And you'll see what we call a lot of women bonding with each other, but not able to bond with men. Well, a lot of men bond with each other, don't bond with women well. Okay? What they did is they took that bonding need and put it in a different territory. Safer to bond and be buddies with their buddies.
Friendship rather than
Friendship. Okay? And even have a semblance of intimacy there than it is to have it with a member of the opposite sex. Risky territory having a relationship with a member of the opposite sex if you've ever been wounded, hurt, or afraid of it.
so
Risky
then
territory.
friendships can almost replace
Replace it.
that and fulfill that love and acceptance hunger so that you can just be, as Bob is describing, as promiscuous, just having casual sex,
exactly.
recreational sex,
Right.
because you have your true intimacy with your friends,
Yeah.
your buddies.
And you see this in the television show that was, I don't know how many years ago, Friends. I mean, that was kind of I think a hit because it started touching
Yes.
a social phenomena that was occurring.
Yeah, the community feeling.
Gotcha.
And I think the longer that lasts over time, then the more you'll see people having more difficulty bonding with members of the opposite sex and making something really neat out of it.
So what can we do about it?
Well, one is, I think, work on our judgmentalism toward the members of the opposite sex, because concomitant with that is a lot of judgment.
Yes.
It's true,
A
Al.
lot of judgment.
That
Yes.
is huge.
You listen to men and they judge women, and our whole society really judges men.
Yes.
And that has swung, that the zeitgeist of years ago was men making jokes about women and how dumb they were and everything else. Well,
Now,
the zeitgeist
it
now
has turned.
is different. It's women having every complaint they can think of about men.
And it's just a common
So it's not safe to be with a woman, see, by extension.
man haters. I mean, that's starting to be a common term now.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a man hater. And it just starts to be, she's one of those. Like,
Yeah, and research done on misogyny, which is men, hating women or objectifying women, shows that more and more rape, physical abuse, domestic abuse comes out of those kinds of belief systems that they start with very young.
right. The judgment has to
The
stop.
judgment has to stop.
All right, all right, you ready to take a quick break?
This has been
Yeah, it's
very
very
helpful. I mean,
profound.
we're in a lot of ways, I think, just kind of pulling back the veil. You know, we don't want to look at these, you know, social, you know, almost phenomena that are happening, but they are.
Yeah, we can't just sit back and watch it
people
happen.
are intentionally walking away from the design of God.
That's right.
And
You know,
every single one of us, you guys, me, we all have a role in what we can do in our relationships. I can promote healthy relationship with Bob and healthy conversation with other women towards my husband. I can do it. I can do. You're influencing people that we can't. You get to be a light in this place of what a relationship, non-judgmental relationship, looks like. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back, and Al Els is going to help us to bring some practical application.
I've deeply enjoyed this series with Al Els. If
Me
you've missed
too.
any of the programs, please visit our website, mynewday.tv. There you can view all of them and share them. The book that we are featuring, One Way Relationships, I like one of the subtitles here. It says, Healing the Codependency in All of Us. As we bring today's program to a close, we've asked Al, just take a moment. What can we do with the information that we've gathered today to begin to apply it to our life? Al, will you help us?
Well, I'd love to talk just about a couple things of intimacy, okay? People really crave intimacy and connection, but they're afraid to risk it. So one of the best things we can do is when we look at our relationships, good friendships, husband, wife, so forth, we ought to start risking being a little more vulnerable and a little more honest a bit at a time, because it's the honesty and the vulnerability that starts inviting the connection. So if you'll become a little more honest about yourself, and not about the other person, but about yourself, a little more honest about your fears, a little more honest about what hurts you in life, a little more honest about your stress, a little more honest about your own weaknesses, that will start inviting other people to connect with you, okay? Now, sometimes the only warning is there's some people who are totally unsafe and you can't do that with, okay? But in all honesty, most people, if you risk first, they'll risk back. So the way you start learning how to be connected and vulnerable is practice. Start with your friends, start with people that are safe, and keep working from there.
Yes, that's so good. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's secrets. What you're really talking about.
Yeah,
is
it's secrets.
y-
There's
like
secrets,
what I
yes.
love, like what Bob and I say is
Yes.
like from the crisis we've walked through and then unpackaging, unveiling every stone that brought us to where we were.
Yes.
We've come to this place where we literally have no secrets that we can think of. Like there's just no secrets, and that kind of intimacy.
See, and that is so freeing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. When you get rid of your secrets and your shame,
Yeah.
life gets so much better.
And then we can laugh.
easy.
Then we
It's
can
easy.
laugh a lot more. I know one of our camera
Yeah.
guys was saying intimacy is laughing together and just enjoying life.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because we have nothing to hide or pretend.
Amen.
Al, thank you. The
Yeah,
book,
thanks for
please.
coming
Well,
out.
thank
We
you for having
really
me.
This has
appreciate
been
you.
wonderful. As well, I do want to thank you, our New Day family, our partners and friends that financially invest in this program. These messages, we need to get them out.
That's
but I
right.
need your investment.
And just so you know, there's no church or big corporations that make this happen. Airtime is expensive, and you guys
You're
are
it.
helping us, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
But we need you.
we
We'll
need
see
to
you
hear
next
from
time.
you. We look forward to
Bye-bye.
it. Bye-bye.